I want you to imagine something for me. You've worked with a client for years, you know the account inside and out, and today you're presenting a big moment, a big room. Then your boss walks in with their boss, and something shifts. You step back, you wait, you let them lead. Your client kind of looks around the table confused. They've never seen you this way before. You're always the one that commanded the room. That's why they trust you. Later, you won't be able to explain it. You just did it. Welcome to How to Get What You Want. This podcast is for driven women ready to claim their goals and navigate their careers with clarity and confidence. Join me as we explore real stories, tools, and strategies to help you steer your career exactly where you want to go. Let's get started on helping you get what you want. Hi, friend. Welcome. I'm so happy that you made the choice to be here today. I'm talking about imposter syndrome. And I want you to think about when it shows up. That reflection, maybe it wasn't exactly the way that it showed up for you, but I'm sure that you have the moments when you realize that something takes over for you. It's not obvious. It can show up as doubt, something you can't name. It might not be the voice in your head telling you that you don't belong, but somehow you feel it. And it's this quiet step that you take backward in a moment when somebody senior walks in, somebody that's more experienced, and it looks like professionalism. It looks polite. As you're shrinking, looks like it's being respectful. You earned the seat. They came to hear you. I want you to really think about how this might be showing up for you and think about how silent it may be, that stepping back, that letting somebody else take the lead. It doesn't look like fear. It just looks like you're waiting your turn and being collaborative, not making a fuss. But underneath, it's costing you influence because when you do that, that's how people see you. They assume that you aren't taking the lead. They assume that you don't have that. Or, like with that example, the client was like, that's weird. That doesn't feel like her. And when you have a trusted relationship, when that feels off, people feel it and they might not be able to name it, but it's like, huh. And I think about that example when I was in sales. If that happened to me, that client that I'd worked so hard to build that trust with might start thinking, well, she's not really the decision maker because those people came in. And it would decrease my ability to influence and really have that relationship. So it can have real effects on the people around you. And it happens in people that are really accomplished. Oh, it's not speaking up because it's not my role. It's thinking about, oh, I don't want to advocate for myself or my team right now because the business is really strapped, budgets are tight. It's giving the benefit of the doubt to somebody that their actions are honorable when they don't have your interests in mind. It's not wanting to challenge the status quo, be the first one to step out. It's these things in leadership that hold us back, that we don't notice, but it's something that gets in our way. That's imposter syndrome. And there's some research on this. It shows that imposter syndrome is reportedly in 70% of people at some point, 70%. And it specifically affects high achievers. The more capable you are, the more acutely you feel the gap between how others see you and how you see yourself. The reframe for this syndrome for me is a lens. When I think about imposter syndrome, it's viewing the world through your own lens. And that's why I think it's so powerful to think from a negotiator mindset and start to use those skills, those strategies, because it shifts that lens from inside your head and focusing there and reacting to that doubt to zooming out and looking at what you're facing, looking at those perceptions of you, focusing more on the goal, more on the other person, on the opportunity, and not becoming paralyzed by self-doubt. It's focusing on what needs to happen. That helps you get out of your head. I have a friend that is a professional speaker, and I used to really worry about what I was going to say as I facilitated things in front of people. And I'd be focused on the words and exactly what I was going to say. And she said, you need to stop and start to focus on what you're giving to the people that are in front of you, what effect you're having on them. And just that shift got me out of my head about it, because now I'm in service of the people that are in front of me and not in service of the perfection that I expect of myself. This has really come to light recently. I had one client, I asked her to reflect on a high stakes moment. And as you know, for me, a high stakes moment is any situation that getting what you want feels uncomfortable. So high stakes is very personal. So she looked back on a situation that was really high stakes for her. And I asked her to think about it from the perspective of, I didn't do what I needed to do. And she thought about a boss that she worked for that wasn't supportive of her. And she was tolerant of that. And when she was thinking back on it, she said, I never spoke up about it. I never talked to him about it. I just let it be. And I think about how it stifled my growth, how it made me insecure, how I didn't get what I needed to in those times. I really regret not saying anything. That was it right there. That was it. Or another one of my clients was presenting to one of her big accounts, and her boss ended up coming, and she did exactly what I had you reflect, that she pulled back. She let her boss kind of take the lead. She put the light on her boss, which isn't a bad thing, but give them the respect in the room, but have it come back to, I'm running the meeting. So the value that we see in ourselves can leak out into how people perceive us. It can have a real effect on that. And I want you to think about when you might get in your own way. Think about imposter syndrome in this way. This is how I think about it. It narrows your focus, because a lot of times when we get imposter syndrome, it's about something specific. So we start to think about, I'm not enough in this room because I'm the lowest person as it relates to a hierarchy, or I don't have the experience to answer these questions, or I shouldn't be presenting this. If you're worthy, if you're ready, it's the doubt that comes with those things. And so when you think about it from a negotiator mindset, you expand that. You think about it outside. There's that old saying, fake it till you make it. I really don't like that at all. But the way I think about the same kind of idea is that practice it until it becomes instinct. And that's what happens if you think about what a negotiator would do, how they would look at a situation, how they would out imposter syndrome. You build a muscle that eventually displaces that doubt, or at least acknowledges it. And it's a lot more obvious to you. So you can go, oh, there it is again. Look at that little doubt. Look at what I'm doing. I'm staying quiet. Call it out. Let yourself see it. Every time you take action, every time you speak up, every time you step forward, every time you hold your ground, you're training that muscle. Even that reflection that I had that one of my clients do when she thought about a high stakes moment, she'll never do that to herself again. Having that reflection about, I should have spoken up for something that was really important to me, and an expectation I had of my boss. So think about that, take time to reflect. So here's 3 moves to get out of imposter syndrome and start to think like a negotiator. So that first one is to think about the fact that you're narrowing in. When you feel yourself shifting, where you feel that feeling in your stomach that you feel nervous or unsure or not feeling that confidence, zoom out. Really literally think about, you're focusing in on one part of the picture. You need to zoom out the lens. I used to be a photographer or a videographer. So zoom out so you can see more. Be able to see the whole thing that's in front of you. What's important to the others in the room? What are the expectations of me? What is my goal here? What is the contribution that they expect from me? Sometimes when we don't feel it in us, there's so much power in being able to look at it from somebody else and go, they expect me to be the lead on this. I'm going to step in and be it. And that's when imposter syndrome loses its grip. I remember the first time somebody called me a professional speaker. I'd been on stage, there were some technical issues, and I was the only one that didn't miss a beat. And I heard it through somebody telling somebody else. And I'll never forget that moment when somebody said that. I was like, oh my gosh, they think I'm a professional speaker. And so I started to own that. It didn't feel comfortable at first, but then when I went on the stage, I started thinking they expect me to be a professional speaker. That's how they view me. And so I just owned it. And over time, hey, listen, I'm a professional speaker. I just am. Doesn't sound arrogant. It is what it is. All right. So the second move is to reframe your value as value to someone else. Like what my friend Micah Liebert said to me. Instead of thinking about the words I use have to be perfect, think about what needs to land with the people that are in front of you. If you're advocating for yourself, don't think of it as self-serving. Think about it as, I'm doing this for the team. I'm doing this for others. I'm doing this for my future self. The value you bring is felt by others, but sometimes we can't feel it for ourselves. So it's not about putting yourself first, but it's picking those moments when that's really important to you. You don't want the room to lose something. Your perspective is value. Your perspective is insight. When you don't offer it, decisions are made without that perspective. Own your value. Understand that you're there for a reason. Do you know that studies show that diverse perspectives and voices, when they're actually heard in the room, lead to better decisions? Your silence has a cost that's beyond you. And that's why you're in the role that you're in. The third move that I want you to think about is get a coach, get a mentor, get somebody that you respect, somebody that you think never deals with imposter syndrome, and talk to them about it. Have them tell you how they see you. Use their perspective, their ideas, their frame for you to see yourself differently. And then really listen. It's so important to allow their lens to replace yours, even if it's temporary. Believe what they told you about their perspective of you and own it. Be a professional speaker before you are one. Sometimes the fastest path out of imposter syndrome is borrowing somebody else's belief in you. And then you can start building your own. So think about this. Where in your work right now are you holding back? Not because you're not ready, but because imposter syndrome has convinced you you're not ready. Do you know that every person around you doesn't feel ready? They may convince you they believe they're ready, but 70% of people deal with imposter syndrome. You are not alone. So here's your challenge. In the next 72 hours, if you just listen to this and you don't take action, this is just entertainment. I want this to be something that is sticky for you. So in the next 72 hours, that's 3 days, I want you to do this. The next time you feel insecure, not enough, or doubtful, I want you to stop right there in your tracks and go, that's interesting. What just happened? Why do I feel this way? What triggered it? And then note that. You can write it down. Start to learn your patterns. I have a friend, Michelle, who always says, when you acknowledge something that goes through your head, something that makes you feel insecure, call it out. I love this. So go, oh, interesting. That little imposter syndrome, as if it's a personality of yours. There it is again. There it is lurking in front of me. And say, I'm just going to let that go. Allow that thought to just see it leave you. So in the next 72 hours, acknowledge it. understand it, and then practice letting it go. You are not your doubt. You are what you will do next. I'm so glad that you made the choice to be here today. Please share this with somebody that needs to hear it, that you feel like has amazing value to what they bring to the table. Share that with them. Help them get stronger in it, to be convicted in it. I'd love for you to do that. And then it's a win-win. It shows them that you care about them and you're thinking about them. I'm going to be doing a recording of my book soon, The Art of Everyday Negotiation Without Manipulation. I'll let you know how it goes. I'd love for you to download it and join me there. I'm really excited about the experience of doing it and being able to give an updated view of the stories and the perspective of a negotiator mindset. Thanks for making the commitment today. And remember that negotiation isn't just a skill, it's a mindset. Until next time, I'm Susie. I'll see you then.